So, can you get amazing picture quality without having to break the bank on expensive lenses? Let's find out. So the lens in question is this, a Tokina 70 to 210mm lens. First introduced in 1985, the same year the first version of Windows was out. I believe it's the first year a CD came out. I'm acting like I know these things, I've done my research. A pint of beer was 35p. Amazing. That lens only cost me £15, plus an adapter for about another 20, and you're looking £35. And the adapter, obviously, you can use again and again on various lenses. I did look to see how much it cost in 1985. Unfortunately, I didn't get a definitive answer. And as a way of comparison, I've had a look into today's lenses, and to get a Sony 70 to 210 or 70 to 200 would set you back a whopping £1,149. So if this lens manages to save me that money, I'm not going to judge it too harshly. Now obviously it's not as simple as just comparing a modern day lens with its price tag to an old lens being so cheap. There are some drawbacks. Most notably, things like image stabilization, autofocus, and full manual controls. Now, if you can look past these things as I have and get a grip with those sort of settings, you can have a lot of fun and get a lot of great images with these lenses. However, these issues can be combated with things like using a tripod, learning your manual settings, and manually focusing, which I do pretty much all the time, especially when I'm doing my landscape photography. I find it a lot easier using manual focus. So some of the more observant viewers may have just realised I am now back at home. The light was fading really fast. I only had enough time to chuck on the lens and get some shots before the sun went, and then once it did, the light wasn't worth really staying around to shoot in. So I thought I'd come back and wrap this video up here. So as you've just seen, the images you can get with a £15 lens are staggering. Just goes to show you don't have to spend thousands of pounds buying the very best and very newest lenses. Obviously there's so many advantages to buying today's modern lenses. Autofocus, image stabilization, and well, compared to this, about 30 years of innovation and development. So it's likely you'll get a better picture and have a better experience using a modern lens. However, what this lens does is make you feel involved in the whole process, manually adjusting the aperture, manually focusing. Even on this one, for example, it's a pull to zoom, which I find pretty enjoyable. I've never felt so involved in the taking of a picture. So as I just mentioned, its drawbacks and how you can overcome them. Autofocus, if you're doing wildlife photography or fast moving things, sports, it's not going to work for you, really and truly, unless you're an amazing manual focuser. But you're going to have to try and track a subject. A modern lens is going to just beat this out with ease. However, if you're doing what I do mainly, which is landscapes, they're not going anywhere. So being able to manual focus, which is what I do predominantly anyway, really isn't that much of an issue. As for the manual aperture, satisfying. However, one of the major things I found to be a problem when using an old lens was the fact that it's got no image stabilization. How do you overcome this? If you're lucky enough to have a camera that has in-body image stabilization, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue, as long as it's good enough. The camera I'm using unfortunately doesn't have that. So when I'm taking photos handheld, I have to make sure I'm really steady. Otherwise, you end up with really blurry images. So if you are tempted in getting into the whole vintage lens or legacy lens world, I would highly recommend you do so, but do so and do your research. Don't just blindly buy lenses on eBay or anywhere like that just because the price seems attractive. There may be some reasons they're priced that way, and you may be buying a lens that even in its heyday wasn't very good. One of the websites I use is called Pentax Forums. I'll link that below, and you've got a lot of people using these old lenses and they give their reviews, and you can see some of the example images and give you an idea of what sort of quality you're going to get before you buy them. So obviously the image quality is not about to win any prizes in today's modern world. However, it can keep up with some of the lenses out there at a fraction of the price. This is the cheapest legacy lens I've bought. I wouldn't imagine even in its heyday it was that great a lens. However, it's good enough. And for £15, I challenge anyone to find me a cheaper and better bang for buck to go from 70 to 210mm and increase my focal range, as the kit lens on this only goes up to 70mm. The other lens I've also bought is a Minolta 50mm. This is a 1.8. Now that is a very, very decent lens. It's brilliant for bokeh and blurring out that background, and I'm now trying to find ways to work it into my style of photography, but I will do, so watch out for that. So if you did enjoy this video or you found it in any way helpful, please give it a like. It does help my video make its way to other people, so it's very, very helpful. Also, if you're not already subscribed, maybe consider doing so, because I've got some more cool videos coming up soon. I wouldn't want you to miss it. Peace.